Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. I am JD, and this is Grim Info. So I want to talk tonight about the global tyranny using climate control, using the climate as guides for this control. They were always planning on using a pandemic of some sort. They've tried it before. They tried it in the 70s with the swine flu. They tried that, where they lied about all different kinds of people taking it that didn't take it. They have tried this over and over and over again, using these immortal cell lines from two different individuals. A woman in the 50s. This has been documented. Her family tried to fight to actually get the profits and the rights that they've taken. Like, once again, this is YouTube, and so I try to be a little bit guarded about what I say. There was a boy in the 60s that was aborted, that they used his cells. These immortal cell lines exist, but they're extremely cancerous. They pretty much envelop the body and destroy the body. And these people want to use these immortal cell lines to try to reach what they call immortality. Elon Musk said a few years ago, "Be wary of those who will bring terror upon you." Now, this is not an exact quote. I am improvising on what he said. That they will bring terror on you and they will use the guides of an AI god to do so. That's what they worship. They believe that we are a parasite on the planet, and they believe that they've got to cull that herd. And they are using the pandemic as the means to do so. When we all started standing up, when the world started standing up to the leftists, and they started losing. This was Brexit. This was all over the world. All over the world. Brexit style, Trump style, started taking over the globe. And so they had to stop that. And they triggered what we're now living through now. What you will see come to pass is it's already happening in California, and it's happened in Texas, where they're shutting off people, where they have shut off people's heat, where they've shut off their gas and said, well, you've used enough. We don't have enough. This is to teach you to live under this. And they're using climate control to do it. Because if they can use something and say that we're bad, it's always been this way. How did a pandemic lead to no more 24-hour stores? Well, we got to clean. I know lots of people. And I have had interviews with store managers that I have put on YouTube, and they've shut down. I can't even put them on here. Coming out saying that it's a lie. Saying that they didn't do anything at all. And they don't do anything. So, what do we have to do to... Because here's the thing. You cannot wake up people who don't want to wake up. Okay? No amount of facts will make people understand that they are living under abuse, that they are living under tyranny. That it doesn't matter. Those people will only wake up when they are ready to wake up, when they're ready to actually see what's going on. And there are a lot of people out there with really good intentions who absolutely believe that what they're doing is right. But the people at the very, very top know exactly what they're doing. They have to implode the first world by using the third world as biological missiles to implode the first world, to wreck our economy, to then bring us to our knees. And at the same time, it cutting off everything, cutting off our resources, cutting off our food, cutting off everything that we think that we want to pay for. Capitalism is honestly the biggest thorn in their side. Even when capitalism isn't working to the best of its ability, and trust me, I have my problems with capitalism. Why is it that Time Warner and Comcast aren't in the same states? Why are they not? Why is there not that competition? Why do we have to pay so much for that shit? It's not even a finite object. And Russia and oil companies in America, they're saying, which is what they're going to use to split us against other people. Well, Russia, we have our own oil that we could pump, but we can't because of environmental reasons. Well, do you think Russia and the oil companies are going to take less than $100 a barrel? Putin's already said that it's going to be at $100 a barrel. Just is what it is. Which means when you can't heat your homes, when you can't give your children baths, when you can't do those things, and then they tell you that you have your carbon alliance, that you cannot use that because of carbon. You have to understand that they have had this global plan for a long time. Their goal is to find immortality, and what they worship hates life. And the seeds of the universe are our children. And they're constantly coming after our children, regardless of what they're doing, and whether it be through Planned Parenthood. They don't even consider a baby in the womb a baby or a life. It is nothing to them. And they classify that as such. And so they use the guides of climate control and the fact that we have to save the earth so that way they can, and medical tyranny, so that way they can basically cull the herd. That's what these people are using. So when they sit around and they tell you that there is no energy, that there's no oil, there's no gas, there's no natural gas, because we've got to save the earth. Well, isn't it funny how in different parks around the world they've said that by 2020, all the glaciers will be gone, but they're not? How is that? Or in places that they said by 2020 it would be flooded. We'd be underwater and everybody'd be drowning. Al Gore did a documentary about that. And we're not. People aren't. Right? It's because populism was amazing. Because people wanted freedom. Because people were seeing and waking up. And we're getting tired of this authoritative bullshit that these people were bringing on everyone. We had in America, they have removed so much of our rights. And they will come out. They will come out with the Patriot Act 2. And I can promise you it will be way more evasive. They will take away our power, our internet, everything for a few days probably. Call it an attack by China, call it an attack by whoever, Russia, whatever, whoever else that they can get you to believe and be stupid enough to believe their lies. And then what they'll do is then you'll be so glad that they are your saviors, that you don't ever want that to happen again. You don't ever want to go a week without electricity. You don't ever want to do any of that. That you'll sign on to it. You'll give away your freedoms for security. And they know it. They know it because we did it after 9/11. And so they know that you'll do it again. And this time, they'll take your guns. They'll take everything. They already spy on you on everything that you do. And they use medical tyranny and climate control as their vehicle to take away your liberties. Because they love to sacrifice children. If you don't know who Malak is, you might want to go figure it out, because that's who they worship. That's who they worship. That's who they believe in. And so for all you people out there who say, God doesn't exist, and I believe in Satan. No, so do they. Except for they're not running around with black hair dressed like dumb fucks out of some Slipknot video saying, Hail Satan! Durr! Like some fucking retard. They're not doing that. Instead, they pass policy after policy after policy that limits your freedom, that limits your rights, that puts you into a box, and eventually that kill box will eventually close. And you'll die. Now they want to jab all of our children, when it's known to give children heart attacks. And at the end of the day, America is supposed to be the freest country on the planet. We are supposed to be the guardians of freedom. We are the champions of liberty. But yet we sit here in our easy chair while we, sip our tea and play video games and, do nothing about the wolf at the door. Instead, we keep throwing at our babies. And our babies keep dying. And they keep slaughtering them in more ways than none. Through all of the plastics and all of the food that we feed our kids. You know, it's so sad. I seen a child walking into a store today with a big old 44-ounce Mountain Dew. That we're destroying our children with chemicals. We sit them in front of the TV. Their brains are completely zombied out. There's nothing worse than I hate going to a restaurant, watching a parent hand a kid a phone, just so that way they can sit there in silence instead of actually interacting with their children. And then we wonder why our children grow up and don't listen to us, or the reason why they may have the opinions that they have, or why they're influenced more by people on YouTube than they are by their own parents. And you wonder why you're so far away from the same kids who live in the same home as you. It's because you put that division in their hands in the first place. So then it gets worse. And then we're living in the world that we live in. Because nobody wanted to stand up to it. No, the worst thing that I hate more than anything is hearing people go, well, gee, I don't get into no politics. I don't discuss none of that. I don't talk about politics. Yeah, well, the people who want you dead do. They pass policy after policy after policy, stripping you of your rights, stripping you of your freedoms, and at the same time selling you half-truths and all lies. And then you buy it and you believe it. You believe that you're saving the environment. You believe that the environment is at risk. And don't get me wrong, we have a footprint that we should remove. And I'm all about that. There are species that are dying. I hate poachers. I think they're the worst thing in the world. There is nothing worse than hearing about the numbers of tigers that are dwindling across the world or other species that are extinct. I hate that. And you know what? We as human beings do have to learn to live better with our environment. I love our environment, and it is sad, and we should learn to live better with it. And honestly and truthfully, there should be stricter punishments for those that want to go out and slaughter the beautiful animals that inhabit this planet that are on the verge of extinction. We should find a better way to clean up our oceans. Absolutely. We have got to find a better way to deal with the heaping mounds of trash that we are creating. In my opinion, the worst thing about our footprint is if any of you out there are baseball aficionados, back in the day, or even for some of you that aren't, back in the day they used to have this term, greasing the ball. It's where pitchers used to have grease behind their ear, and they put a little grease Vaseline on the ball. And then when they throw that ball, it would change the trajectory of the ball, make it sink harder, put extra spin on that ball. Now imagine that's our planet. It's a ball. It's flying through space. Okay? We took all of the insides out of our planet and then we put them onto the top of the planet. I don't care who you are. At some point, that's got to change the trajectory of our planet. Okay? Does that mean that we need to kill millions of people? No. That means that we have to learn to live in a more harmonious balance with our planet. I'm all about that. I'm all about that. Does that mean that we need to get rid of cars? No. Does that mean that we need to quit pumping gas? No. Should we find better alternatives? Yes, by all means. I am all about means that are actually viable to forwarding our people forward at the same time of protecting Mother Earth. I'm all about that. I am all about that. But we don't need to kill people to do that. We don't need to sit back and destroy our entire planet for it. We can fix it. We can fix it. And we can come together as a culture and do so. But we have to stop buying into these lies. We have to stop buying into climate change. We have to stop. Climate's always going to change. It doesn't matter. We live on the backs of a giant. We live on the back of a giant. This giant is living. Okay? It's got a heartbeat. All right? And that's the core of the planet, the whole night. That's what I mean by it. So before some crazy goes, what are you talking about? It doesn't have no real heartbeat yet. It's alive. The planet itself is alive. It moves. It rotates. It's always changing. There's nothing we're ever going to do about that. Okay? So we're going to have to live with extreme weather. We're going to have to live with those things. That's what happens. People die. We live in areas where there's extreme weather. Right now, an earthquake could crush me, whole house fall on top of me. Let me tell you right now, I do not want you to quit driving your car because of that. Okay? I don't care. It is what it is. I am a human being on this planet. Anytime this big old beast wants to shake and fucking kill the fleas that's living on it, well, that's just the price we pay to live on this beautiful planet that we call home. And I'm fine with that. That's an even balance. And that's okay. Because tragedies do happen. And we do have to find better ways to weather those storms. But at the end of the day, completely changing our culture and living in fear just because, you know, people want to quit using, because they want us to quit using lawnmowers. I'll tell you what it really is. It's because they don't want us to use all of their resources when they think they're going to live forever. So either one of the two things, ladies and gentlemen, either they have the means to live forever and they don't want to share that with anyone else, or they would rather kill off 90% of the population, make the rest slaves, and then live forever. And they're lying to all of us to do so. Because they have absolutely destroyed our blood supplies. I have heard this from many nurses. They have tainted our blood supplies. They are lying to us on every single form. And the reality is that all it takes is for us to stand up and say no. If you look at China, they're burning more coal than they ever have. Why? Oh, that's because they own and run the UN. That's because the Rockefellers, the Rothschilds, and the IMF and the World Bank have sided with them. I've said for years that we were in trouble if we did not stop this, even before any of this happened. Because I could see it like writing on the wall. It is absolutely terrible what we're living through. But you know what? We are living through it because we refuse to stand. Instead, we want to argue about black and white, left and right, gay rights, trans rights, whatever. Here, at the end of the day, there are only two genders, okay? And we all got to pass through a real woman's vagina, okay? It's just the way it works. I don't care who you are. And, you know, if you haven't seen Dave Chappelle's special, please go see it. Because he's right. He's right. He's absolutely right. And everything he said was right. Now, it's crazy that he's celebrated for this because these are just facts. I mean, it just is what it is. I do think it's stupid that that Mr. Gender, Caitlyn Gender, you know, that he got Woman of the Year when he is not a woman. And that's the other thing. We keep taking things away from real women who have worked really hard to get those things. And why women are not fighting back against this is ridiculous. More women should be fighting up against this and fighting back because they're taking everything that women actually fought for. If you cannot notice that they are destroying every norm we have. They're destroying the norms between men and women. They're destroying what it means to even be a woman. Women go through a lot and they deserve the title woman. They are making white people into basically somebody that they can just kill. And they are doing it all while wearing blackface. And they're the whitest people on the planet. But while we sit around and argue racism, they use black people as their shield. They're no different than that movie, the South Park movie, where they use the black people in the movie as like shields on the military. That's what the globalists are doing. That's exactly what they're doing. And everyone keeps buying into it. And the reality behind it is that you're going to die with the rest of us. And for all the LGBTQ people, just let me tell you something. Around the rest of the world, they throw your people off of buildings. They hang your people. So what do you think is going to happen when they take over America? You are going to be first on the chopping block. Because they don't like you. And China doesn't like you. China is in the middle of making their men masculine. Their young men are learning to use rifles and guns and kill. While we're busy giving our young men puberty blockers. See the difference? The enemy is preparing for war, and we're preparing to chop off our best fight in that war's balls. So, ladies and gentlemen, I've got like 6 of these channels, and I rant a lot. But in this video, I wanted to be a bit calmer because this is a really dire situation. We cannot allow them to use climate control and a pandemic scare to control our entire lives. And that's exactly what they're doing. At the end of the day, we've got to stand up to this, and we've got to make sure that we fight back peacefully. And we have got to get everyone on board who has an ear. You have got to wake up, because at the end of the day, even if you love Nancy Pelosi and everything she's doing, she doesn't like you. She doesn't care about you. All she cares about is whether or not she can keep taxing you to death and keep shooting you and your family up. And at the end of the day, they're going to put you in the ground. And if you're not smart enough to actually go look at India and Japan and see what they've done, I don't know what to tell you then, because then you're lost. And do we have issues? Yes, we have issues that need to be fixed. And we can fix those together. But allowing these people to flood our country with illegal migration, replacement migration, mind you, because they plan on, that's the reason why they're not jabbing them, but they will you. They're there to replace you. They want to get rid of your cars. They want to get rid of your homes. They're going to starve you out. They're going to freeze you out this winter. And they will kill you. It's just the way it is. All it takes is to just stand up and say no. I refuse to go along. I refuse to give in. And then, you know what? We can fix the planet. I mean, we can. The planet has been hit by meteorites before, been on fire, the whole 9 yards. It can heal. How many times have you walked down the street and seen a sidewalk completely tore up and grass covered over? You want to know why that is? Because this planet is a lot stronger than what we think it is. We are underestimating Mother Nature. And I can promise you, you underestimate Mother Nature, and she'll stick a boot way up in your ass. I do not underestimate Mother Nature. I also don't underestimate the power that we have as human beings to be reasonable and to work together for a goal. And once we do that, and we quit allowing these people to lie to us and manipulate us and scaring us into compliance, ladies and gentlemen, we can do anything we want to do. So all I want everyone to do is to take heed and watch their environment. Do not allow these people to do this. Do not allow them to get away with it, because they are getting away with things. It's already proven that Mr. Fauci has lied over and over and over. And how many times do you gotta lie before you just call a liar a liar? I mean, seriously, ladies, how many ladies out there get cheated on? And then you eventually, how many times has the dude tried to move the goalposts and lie to you and tell you everything in the book, and he's still a liar? Well, Dr. Fauci is he's the man that's cheated on everybody out there, okay? And everybody keeps buying his shit. All right? And the globalists are like, you walk into a room and they're sitting there with a knife to your baby. They're going to kill you, and they're going to kill your baby. Are you going to run out of that room, or are you going to stand up and fight and possibly save your child's life? Because that's what they're going to do. They don't care. Let me explain something. In World War II, and every war really, they didn't stop the experiments. They didn't care. How much people screamed, how much they begged, they didn't care. They don't care now. If they did, then they would stop doing what they're doing. But they're not. And they won't. There's only one way this stops. And that's by us resisting peacefully and telling them no. And having the right people stand up. We don't have enough people standing up. Yes, we got Rand Paul, but he hasn't come full circle on what's really going on. We need more people to come full circle. We need more people like you that are watching this video to stand up and say enough is enough. It's time to fight peacefully. It's time to fight. It's time to take our livelihood back, because they are holding our flag around the world and crying, asking, where are the champions of freedom? Where are the defenders of liberty? Where are we? We need to stop fighting amongst ourselves. America is not a football team. We are a coalition. We are a combination of the greatest people in the entire world. Let me tell you something right now. Do you know the reason why they fear white and black people getting together? Because we are the biggest, strongest people on this planet. You look at size, body-wise, how smart, how intelligent, how big we are. We are the most defiant. And yet, for some reason, we just keep complying with this. I mean, how many times do they have to hurt us? How many times do they have to poison our black brothers and sisters? How many times do we have to demonize all of our white brothers and sisters? How many times do we have to keep letting them keep us apart before we decide to shake hands, give each other a big hug, and say, you know what, brother, I love you. Let's go take the fight to this motherfucker. Because that's what we need right now. So, I hope you enjoyed this video. And I really pray for all of you. Every single one of you. Even if you watch this video and you hate every word that came out of my mouth. Good. I'm glad you did. Enjoy it. Because your victories will be short-lived. Because I have faith in all of my black brothers and sisters. I have faith in all of my white brothers and sisters. And everybody else in between. And I have faith in America. And I believe that eventually we will see the light. And we will put a boot so far up their asses that they'll never get it unwedged. And then we can take the fight to them all around the world. And we can bring true freedom, true liberty, and we can shine that light into the dark corners of the world and expose them for what they're doing. How the hell can we allow them, America, to do human-animal cloning? Our Congress and our Senate passed that? Seriously? That's what you want to allow go on? Allow them to splice up animals and start genetically testing on these things and creating animal-human hybrids? What have we become? What have we become? We need to ascend and become better than what we were before. That's the reason why idiots like my father were racist. I'm not. That's what happens when we move forward. Ignorance stays in the past. We move forward together as one because we are one family, one nation, under God. And like Mr. Dr. Martin Luther King said, we hold these truths to be self-evident, that all men are created equally. And that is exactly what I believe. Dr. Martin Luther King is my hero. And you know what? I love him. And we need his mentality. We need his preach. We need his words now more than ever, America. And we need those ideas. Because I can tell you this right now. If we don't find a way to come together under those guides of all men are created equal, and if we do not take it to these people, it will be our children that lay dying. It will be how many more of our family members need to die in nursing homes and hospitals all alone? It'll be our children next. And you really want them to have your children? All because either you're a hateful person or you believe that all this racism, hatred actually exists? It doesn't exist. I don't give a shit what they say. Are there hateful people? Yes. There are evil, hateful people. There always will be. But the majority of the people in America, I do not believe are racist. I do not believe that there is that much hatred. So join me. Join freedom. Join liberty. And love those words that were given to us so long ago by such a great man. And hold all those truths to be evident. that we are all created equally and we all deserve liberty. Regardless if we believe in what each other say or not. It doesn't matter. We don't have to see eye to eye. We don't have to. All we have to do is love one another, love our freedoms, and love what America stands for, and the fact that we get to keep progressing forward. Thank you for your time, America. Have a good evening.